Faith doesn't always announce itself with fireworks. Most of the time, it shows up quietly, in patience we didn't know we had, in obedience that no one applauds, and in waiting that feels longer than it should. I've spent most of my life learning that faith isn't a sprint. It's not even a marathon. It's a long, long game. If you're tired of easy answers, worn out from pretending that you're fine, or learning to trust God without a timeline, you're in the right place. Glad you're here. This is a production of GW Son of a Preacher podcast. Hi. Faith is rarely formed all at once. Most of the time, it grows quietly. It grows over time through patience, practice, and staying often matters more than starting. I am GW. I am happy you have joined me to look at how faith is such a long game. Please subscribe. Join us in these quiet discussions. We live in a world that celebrates beginnings. We celebrate the launch, the announcement, the breakthrough, the scientific moment. We applaud the intensity of those moments, the passionate prayer, the emotional altar call, the bold declaration that this time will be different. And there is nothing wrong with that intensity. That fire has its place in time and life. But faith is rarely sustained by the fire alone. Faith is built by staying with the game. There's something deeply spiritual about the endurance. It doesn't sparkle. It doesn't necessarily trend. It does not draw applause. But endurance is quiet. It is steady. Shows up on days when there's no emotion attached to it. It chooses obedience when excitement has faded. Now, anyone can start. Starting feels good. Starting feels powerful. And starting is full of possibility and wonder. Staying, though, that's different. Staying means that you remain when the feeling's cool, when the times get tough. You remain when the answers are delayed. You remain when the results, they don't really match what your expectations were. It's a discipline. Staying is a discipline. In Scripture, we're reminded over and over that endurance matters. The Apostle Paul speaks about running the race with perseverance. The writer of the Hebrews urges believers to run with endurance the race set before them, not with bursts of speed, not with emotional surges, but with steady persistence. Even King David modeled this discipline. In the book of Psalms, 42nd chapter and the 5th verse, he says, "Why, my soul, are you downcast? Why are you so disturbed within me? Put your hope in God." Now that's not the voice of intensity. That is the voice of someone choosing to stay, choosing to keep hoping, choosing to remain anchored when feelings say otherwise. Endurance counts more than intensity because intensity can be circumstantial. It rises and falls with mood, momentum, and motivation. Endurance, it's conventional. It's rooted in commitment. Intensity says, I feel it. Endurance says, I will. Intensity burns bright for a moment. Endurance burns steady for a lifetime. This is true in faith, in marriage, in leadership. It's true in a calling. And you know this from experience. I certainly do. As a 18 handicap golfer, you don't lower your score because you had one really great drive. You lower it because you keep showing up and you practice the same swing. You work on your short game and your putting, and you endure the rounds that frustrate you. And the discipline needed is staying with it. That's what changes the outcome. Faith works the same way. We often think breakthroughs come from one powerful prayer, but more often they come from years of quiet obedience, from choosing to read the Word again, from praying again, from trusting again, from showing up again. Staying develops that depth. Roots grow deeper when the seasons are dry. Muscles grow stronger through repeated strain. Character forms through prolonged testing. If faith were built on intensity alone, it would collapse the moment any circumstance shifted. But endurance creates resilience. Jesus himself modeled the discipline of staying. He stayed in obedience to the Father. He stayed in love toward imperfect disciples. He stayed on the path that led to the cross, not because it was good, but because endurance was required for redemption. We underestimate the holiness of simply remaining in prayer, in hope, in trust, in community, remaining when quitting would be so much easier. The world measures passion. God measures perseverance. In the end, staying counts more than starting does, because starting is a moment. Staying, well, it's a lifestyle, a lifetime. Starting says, I'm inspired. Staying says, I'm committed. Starting emotional, while staying is transformational. Now, faith is not proven by how loudly we begin, but it is proven by how faithfully we remain. So if you find yourself in a season that feels ordinary or difficult or slow, don't underestimate what's happening. You are building your endurance. You're strengthening your spiritual muscle. You are developing a faith that can withstand storms. The discipline of staying may not feel dramatic, but it is so very powerful. Because in the long game of faith, endurance always outlasts intensity. And the ones who stay quietly, steadily, faithfully, well, they're the ones who really finish more strong than anyone else. If this reflection met you where you are, I'm glad you spent these few minutes with me. Remember, I am GW. This is a production of GW, Son of a Preacher. Please hit subscribe or follow.